welcome to the Missed Q. I'm your host, Ricky. With me is my co-host,
Jackie.
And
Heidi.
And together we are the Missed Q. Now, today's episode is about sponsorships, particularly sponsoring the arts.
Yes.
And with us is the sponsor to, I would say, basically like Havasu City.
Yes.
In
absolutely.
general.
Yeah.
Anderson Auto Group. We have Andrea Foote with us here.
Hello, I am excited to be here, and I love that we're recognized as the sponsor of the
Yes.
I would say so. I mean,
Absolutely.
We see your
Yeah.
guys' name everywhere.
Yes.
That's good.
You
It
know,
means we're doing our job.
Not only that, but it shows that you guys really care about the community as a whole. But we want to talk about the arts. And first of all, thank you so much for everything that you do for Grace Arts Live.
Yeah, no, we did something new this year. We sponsored Peter Pan.
Yes.
So we were excited about that. We normally do the season ticket holders as well as the season sponsorship for the year. But we were excited to kind of get more involved in different, right, that I didn't know about. So
Yeah, unique. Well, and then you get to learn about basically how theater is ran
Yeah.
and everything that goes into it, which everybody loves behind the scenes
Yes,
stuff.
yes.
So we like to recognize every aspect we can. We're going to start diving into more episodes about the technical side of theater and showcasing that talent. But a lot of people don't realize that we wouldn't be able to do any of this without the sponsors.
Sponsorship. Yeah.
So what drew you to sponsoring the arts and Grace Arts Live in particular?
I think everyone knows about sports, youth sports. We're all over that. And I think one of the areas we were missing were the arts and culture side of things. And I felt it was important because we have employees whose kids are growing up in the theater program.
Yes.
And I remember in high school, I believe Hayden Rogers is her maiden name now. Well,
Yeah.
she was in theater and she was in my grade level. And I always remember her, for example. And so when we started talking about doing more with Grace Arts and what that looked like, I thought of her immediately. And so there's always that someone that you remember
Right.
who did theater or who's in theater. I think it's really important. Our employees' kids love it,
Yeah.
and the community loves it, right? So once we got involved, I was like, holy cow, this is huge,
Yeah.
what they do for the community, and this is amazing. And I got to actually sit down with Grace and understand the history. So we sat down in theater, and she told me from the very beginning, and trying to work with the city and that whole deal, right?
Yeah.
And where she is now. And I just remember telling her, like, these kids are getting dressed outside in trailers. Like,
Yes.
I came from a city, when I worked for the city of Peoria, a bigger city where they had a huge theater production, a huge own, like their own facility. Like, it was just amazing. You had dress rehearsal, everything happened in one facility. And so here you're at two different locations.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah, so right now where we're recording this is Arizona Coast Performing Arts, which is the dance studio where we do all of our rehearsals, all of the costume fittings, all the planning happens here basically. So yeah, you are correct. So we do it here and then changing outside. And Cause is a huge part of
Yes. Yeah.
helping us out. So shout out to them. That's where the kids basically hang out. That's their
Yeah.
that's
Right.
their
Otherwise, they're in a parking lot. So.
Yeah.
Right. We
yeah,
prefer to not.
sponsors, man. I'm telling you.
No, and so I think that's why, like, that's kind of the majority of it, but also just the community members, everyone that's a part of it too, like from your costumes, your production piece, like who's making your props, like, the list goes on, your music and all the stuff that I've gotten to learn over the years that I'm very thankful for, because it makes you more appreciative. Like, everything you do is just you guys. It's not people coming in and putting on this huge, it's people who live here.
Yeah.
Right.
It's very important to recognize that.
Yeah, and this is your first time at this dance studio, is that correct?
No, I have been here. Like dropping stuff off for
Yeah.
parents or
Yeah.
like things like that. But I didn't realize that
We rehearse here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, we
theater too.
gave you a quick little rundown and showed you where basically they keep most of the costumes and stuff, and it's very cramped, but they do really well. People would have no idea
Right.
all the stuff that goes on, because if you're just watching the show, it's always beautiful and seamless and just professional level production. So, but like I said, that wouldn't be able to happen without sponsors like you and giving us places to change our clothes and air conditioning during the summer, things like that.
Yeah, it's very important.
Yeah, we've been very blessed, not only with the talent of this community, but with just the blessings that the theater's been given. So the theater does all of the kids stuff, which I know you love giving to the community,
Yep.
especially the next generation coming up. And a lot of that stuff is during the summer. And like you said, the kids change outside in a 120-degree heat.
Oh man, we should just take a poll and get more and more sponsors, and let's build a facility.
Yeah.
Yes, let's do that.
That's the dream.
That is the dream.
I said that since day one. The minute I met with Grace, I was like, man, this community deserves better. The people who
Yes.
work on it deserve more. The kids and the adults who are putting everything on deserve more, and the community does, right? Like, I mean, the place is always packed and sold out on big shows. Can you imagine if that was doubled?
Right.
It could easily get
gosh, yeah.
doubled,
Oh, yeah.
tripled, like than what you're in now.
Yeah.
And so I am all for
Especially by the
performing
third
arts
weekend of every show, because then
Right,
word of mouth gets around, and then the third weekend there's people lined outside the
Yeah.
door,
Waiting
not being
for
able to get in.
and getting on the list to get tickets, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But always come down and get on the list.
So have you been seeing shows more frequently since you've been a sponsor?
Yes, I have. So my grandma and I first went prior to us being a sponsor when I moved back into town a couple years ago. So that was awesome. And then once we got involved, we've been to a few more. Shrek's my favorite, just because
yeah.
you were green for a long
Yes,
time.
I was Shrek.
You were.
Yeah. Oh, that was a good
I
one.
love
But
that
no,
show.
all of them have been phenomenal, and Mr. Nick Anderson loves it. You know,
Yes.
so that's a huge part of our life, right? And so he goes to all of
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He's always
him and
there.
Brenda Johnson are always there
Yeah.
and huge supporters.
Yeah, that's
Huge
awesome.
supporters, so.
Well, and I always think with certain shows that are put on, you watch them and you go, man, I wish more people knew about this. Because,
Yeah.
like, I know a ton of people that would enjoy this if only they were aware that there's just a theater here in town. And it's on Main Street, so that drives me even more crazy.
People
Yeah, the
still
people you
don't
talk
know.
to, and they're like, I didn't know we had a theater. I'm like,
all the time.
How did you not know?
Since 2007, yeah. It's been there.
Sure has.
That's crazy.
I think that comes into like why it's so important for the community too, like why we continue need to have it and like people to draw more of those people who don't know about theater. I've never
Yeah.
seen a show or anything. Like I never grew up going, but my husband did.
Okay.
My husband's done show choir, like he's
Oh,
loved
okay.
theater, like
Okay,
he knows all the stuff, you know, and
Tell them auditions are in, December sometime.
Yeah.
Let them come on
Bring
down.
him on the stage.
So he loves that stuff. Like if we were, you know, in Phoenix and stuff, he'd go to shows. So that's how I kind of really got into it. More of an appreciation was probably through him. I was a sports girl. So my life was a little bit different, but I always had an appreciation for the arts. Cause like I said, there's people that you're friends with that are in it and that's their passion, right? They're going to practice too.
Yeah.
Just different.
Yeah.
And they're rehearsing and putting all their hours in just as much as I was, right? So it's just a different.
Yeah. Keeps kids off the streets, out of trouble. Keeps
think
their head on
it's-
straight. Mike,
Well,
my
they
kid keeps
become
his nose straight.
family.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
all you guys are
We are a
family.
family,
Like,
yeah.
you know, this podcast is a family, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so I think that's the most important piece of it. Like you have people outlets to go to.
Yeah, and we like to reach out to people to either come and start seeing shows or go see your first show at the theater or audition and become part of the theater.
Join our
you
family,
know?
yeah.
Like whether it's on stage or off stage, but we're always pretty welcoming of new people. And I think the future looks pretty bright for theater.
Oh, I
in this
agree
town.
100%. I'm
Yeah.
excited.
Even thinking about where theater was when I was a kid to like we've had a couple of the teenagers on as guests and like her daughter Bailey who was Peter Pan.
Right.
And we've had a couple of the leading kids and they've done like 60 shows.
I know. It's crazy.
And I'm like, oh, I've done that many maybe in my whole career.
These kids are,
Yeah.
you know,
But they're
16.
getting
They're
these
like 16.
experiences. But you have these people that have gone off to go to school in New York, and then a couple of them have been on cruise ships. One of them
Right.
is on a cruise ship
right now.
I think
Yeah.
maybe one or two of them. Yeah, so they do go on to do bigger and better things because the program has just gotten stronger and stronger over the years.
Well, think about their
Right.
confidence too, right?
Mm-hmm.
They've
their
already done
confidence.
60, you know, like what I
Right.
mean? And then they could come in and by the time they're done, they're at 120,
Right.
right?
Right.
And then they're going on to their professional
Right.
side of things.
Yeah.
And-
Well, and even thinking the other skills that you get from doing theater, like there are people that have left this program or theater programs in general, and they're lawyers and doctors, and they're doing all those other things because of the skills they learned in theater.
Yeah, like Russell just graduated. He was on our first episode, and he was going to school for physical therapy, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Like at NAU, I think. it
Yeah,
was.
he's at NAU.
Yeah. So, but it's crazy, and I'm like, I guess I could see how ballet and physical therapy might be connected. I don't know, but
I mean, I feel like, yeah.
but it is that confidence, you know. So yeah, we've had some great alumni from the theater. We just learn so much as we record each episode, and it makes me realize that like we spoke to Jack on one episode, who's been doing shows here since 1992, Jack Weldon. People that used to do theater with my dad in the 90s, you know, like they want to be guests on. And it's like, this is great that we can not only represent today's theater generation, but we can also bring light to, hey, this has actually been a thing for 30 years, 40
Right.
years. Gosh, because I have memories throughout all of those. And so I think I just love what we do because I could talk about it for hours, first
Which
of all.
is why we started a podcast to
Yeah,
talk
So
about
we
I
theater
can talk about theater.
I
for
know.
hours.
I
Yeah.
know. So the coming up season, I'm sure you're planning on attending some of the shows. We got Little Shop of Horrors coming up.
First, yep.
Do you know what that one is? Have you seen
I
the
don't
movie?
know of it, but I've heard of it.
Do you like campy horror movies?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
Little
it's
Shop.
right up your alley.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anastasia is the next
Yep.
show,
Yeah.
Anastasia.
and then Annie.
Annie.
Annie in
Horror.
December.
Yes.
Classic.
Yeah.
Yep.
Classic.
The best part is honestly, I think seeing all your guys' hard work come through the nights, right? And
Yeah.
so I think you guys witnessed that too, and you're kind of like earlier when we had just segue conversations before this started, it's like, oh, we don't know how the show's going to be, and then ends up being phenomenal,
Right.
Right?
Oh,
And
right.
so that is, I think that's the coolest part. And then I always think like, oh, I wonder how they made that structure. I don't know. Now that I'm an adult, right?
Yeah.
It's not so much of the story to me. It's all the other
All the
stuff
other
that I
pieces.
pay
All-
attention to.
Right.
I'm like,
How did they
man,
do
they
that?
can sing and do that. I can't even sing,
Hard.
let alone try to like jump around. What is happening? Like,
Well, and like those big set pieces that you're talking about, those cool pieces that you see, those are built by, you know,
Volunteers.
somebody's husband.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
or even
so-
the lighting, right? Like you talked
Oh,
about
yeah.
the people in the
Yeah,
backstage.
so
And
The
we
lighting
we
is
gotta have
insane.
Mel is our lighting person that really
Yes.
designs
Yeah.
all of it,
and the
she's incredible.
choreography too.
Yeah.
So there's just so much that goes into it that I don't think people really
don't.
understand, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And all the hours and time spent, and that's the piece that I love to see. And like I start thinking, like, oh, how'd they do this? Or you know,
Yeah.
I wonder how long it took them to get here, and you know, where they, especially like the kids and these shows, like where they started to like where they are now, after the so many weeks period, or by the time you hit your last show too.
Right.
So
Right.
Like, how do you organize 50 kids to be able to function as one unit, basically?
Getting
Yeah,
everyone to dance at the same time
Yeah.
and sing the same words.
I can't
and-
even handle one that I have of my own.
It's a challenge.
So I
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
I can not imagine 50 of them for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you just look at the flying for Peter Pan alone, first
Oh,
of
Peter
all,
Pan
we needed
was-
sponsorships.
We had to have
to
sponsors
be able to
even-
do
Yeah.
that. And then once we had the sponsorships, then you needed like a crew of 7 people
just
for
to-
the
just to fly.
3 people were
Yeah.
on like Peter
Yeah.
Pan.
I was
think.
getting my teeth done by Dr. Hahn. Okay, this guy was probably gonna fall asleep. Just kidding, Dr. Hahn. He was fully awake, but he was so exhausted.
Oh, he
okay?
was- he worked
And
so hard.
He works a lot, like
Yeah.
in his dentistry. And I remember talking to him about it, and at some point I was like, man, this guy's gonna fall asleep. I don't know how he is making it through the
I
day.
don't know
And
how
was
he-
telling me all
yeah.
the shows, and then his
Yeah.
kids are in it, right?
That's,
Yep.
that's
Yeah,
one of
that's-
his kids right
okay.
there.
That was
And
his wife
so-
earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have all of that, and you're just like, holy cow! And he's a full-time dentist. Like,
Right.
that man to
And
get
at
an
night-
appointment
Oh, yeah,
with him
that's
is
his
like
wife, by the
impossible.
way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, she's beautiful.
Right?
Like, I'm gonna tell him that next time, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I met
You
your
leveled
wife.
up for sure, Dr. Hahn. Like, let's
Yes.
go. But yeah, anyways, I'm like getting my teeth done, and he's like about to fall asleep.
Right.
because
He's flying
been-
Peter Pan at night and fixing teeth during the day.
He's amazing, by the way. I highly recommend him. But
yes.
side,
Absolutely.
side
But I
note.
think that's the great
That's
thing
a-
is the people
yeah.
in our theater have all like full-time jobs.
Yeah,
doing other
we all
things.
have full-time
they're
jobs.
dentists, they're teachers, they're
Physical therapists,
Yeah,
like,
they're doing
you know.
all the things, and then at night they're
At
at
theater.
rehearsal or building a set or running around the dollar store looking for props. Like
Yeah, all the time.
I mean, it's what everyone chips in. It's not like you
Oh,
just have one job. Yeah.
I think like how we can grow it and like other businesses coming in would be awesome.
Yes.
You know, in ways we can help. Is that more of like collaboration piece? Like, you know what I mean? Like we've talked about that, like doing a video collaboration, like all those things, because I feel that organizations are always profitable, right? Like
Yes.
they're always raising money. They're always all these things. So like different ways I think we can think of. I would love to do something to raise a fundraiser. So it's not
Yeah.
just, you know, we're the main sponsor. Like I'd
Get
love someone to
other-
come in, let's match my dollars. Like, let's go, let's do
Yes,
this,
right.
you know, or like, let's do a dinner, let's fundraise and do a little show or something like.
Oh, absolutely.
Just something
Yeah.
along those lines that I think we should start.
Oh my
thinking
gosh,
about.
like imagine if we did like one weekend of like something we never get to do, like a Shakespeare thing
Yeah,
or
and all the proceeds go back.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Like, and then it's like a dinner theater type. Oh my gosh. that was
Yeah,
so
dinner
fun.
and theater type for sure, and then
a
they
gala.
come in.
Gosh, we haven't done a gala since 2012.
You could make like a beautiful night gala, like you're talking
Sure.
about, and invite the guests, like your
And then
season
you have
ticket
your
holders.
performers entertain
Yes.
people.
Yeah.
You have your like season ticket holders. You invite them, and like just certain things like
Yeah.
that. And it's like a
So
one.
a long time ago, we did an evening of Shakespeare, which was one weekend, and it was a free show that was put on like as a gift to the season ticket holders. But you know, that was when we were doing it for the college and stuff, and there was.
Well, but just think,
different,
then
but
if you're
still.
someone, if you're a company
I
who
like the
doesn't want a
idea.
big sponsor, they can just sponsor a table and they
Right.
can
And
They
you
do
do
have
have
different
table.
time.
You could do the same concept as like Breakfast of Champions for Special
Yes.
Olympics, right?
Yeah.
So same kind of concept, but we're raising money for the local
the
theater.
theater.
Yeah.
And businesses buy a table, and then they can still donate too while they're there, and then you can
Yeah.
raffle off prizes. Like there's a bunch of stuff, and then you could have like the entertainment act is going to be the theater act.
Yeah, the theater people. Yeah. all
Yeah,
of us.
gosh, there's just so many ideas. It's just a matter of kind of sitting down and brainstorming because everybody is pretty community oriented here as far as
Oh,
Community, if we get in front of the right people, they're so generous, and that is something I've realized. Like, yes, like you said, like we are one of the top ones for sure, but it's always important to me that the other people who donate, you know, whether it's less or more, they're recognized because it's
Yeah.
so important because they come through too.
Actually, on that note, I would like to kind of give a shout out to Dr. Cunning because there was one performance of In the Heights where there was an out of town guest performer
Yes.
coming in and his car broke down in like Parker. They couldn't get a hold of him, whatever. And I was sitting in the audience, like
I was
ready to
sitting in
watch
the
the
audience.
show.
Yeah.
yeah, and we're sitting there like. And Grace like came out and she's all like, "Oh, sorry." Basically, update everybody and like, if you please, you know, just
Please hang
give us
out.
some
Please don't
time. Please
leave.
hang out. You know, please forgive us. And like a couple of the lead actors came out, and you know, and it was In the Heights is like it has like rap and stuff in the show. So I think they were like, go out and like rap or something.
Yeah, go-
keep them
go-
entertained. They're
entertain
like,
the crowd.
I can't just freestyle rap. What do you mean? Get
up on stage.
And so Dr. Cunning was in the audience, and he basically bought the entire audience a calendar, like as a way to be like, "Hey, thank you for your patience," you know. So he like just got out of his
donated that.
chair and went, and
Thank you for
everybody got a free
waiting.
calendar.
Here's
yeah.
a calendar. and
So-
so many people stayed. Only a few
Yeah,
like, left.
and
they were
he didn't have to do that, but that was just I thought a very generous thing. It's anything.
Yeah, I think
Any-
it's testimonial of what this community comes and does for organizations, right? Like, especially since you guys aren't funded through the city, you guys don't get help from anyone. Like it's standalone in what you do, right?
Yeah.
And so I think those are the organizations I see thriving because they're so passionate and they're going to make it happen, right? Like
Right.
Grace, she had a vision, she had a dream, and she was like, "All right, you're not going to help? Fine, I'll make it happen in my way."
Do it
And if
anyway.
that means
That's
I have
exact-
to,
you sound just like her.
I know, you know what I mean. But if that
Yeah.
means like I have to take out money, if that means my family's going to have to suffer a little bit, like the foundation of how this started is just amazing that it's even where it's at today,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
And so I think it's really important to see that, and it's changing, and it's
Yeah.
changing for the better. And we have you coming in, you guys all coming in and wanting to do more, right? And wanting to explode it. And I feel like that's coming. And so I think it's important to get as many sponsors as we can. Like,
Oh,
I don't necessarily just need to
absolutely.
be us, right?
Right.
It
Yeah.
needs to be, man, if we had 30 of us, that'd be amazing.
Well,
Okay.
I like what you said about like collaborations and teamwork and stuff like that. I did a project for this dance studio for the seniors, for the senior dancers here. Whitney Podboy, she has Whitney Podboy Photography.
Oh, yeah, the photography.
Yeah.
Okay.
She reached out to me and said, "Hey, we should join forces and just do this kind of fun little project for these seniors." So her and I met all these kids at the theater, and Lauren met us down there, and she was helping pose these kids, and I was getting like video footage while she was doing a photo shoot, and she, has these beautiful photos that she created for them, and I have like a a video of the whole experience. I'll send you the link just so you
Yeah,
can
that'd
see
be
it. But
awesome.
it was such a fun
Yeah.
collaboration. And then when I was editing the video and like I put both our logos side by side on it, I'm like, oh man, this is cool.
Yeah.
So that's
Well,
always fun.
And Jackie and Heidi, you guys do the after school theater
Yes.
program, right?
Yeah.
Like that's another thing like I didn't know about, right? And so what are
Right.
ways like we can help with that
And
too?
we need
That's
them.
just as important.
We always need funding for
yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
So like
fundraisers for
Yeah,
our
because that
Yes.
started
club.
with Jamaica Theater Club, and then it
Yes.
expanded into Starline just last year.
Yeah,
right?
they
Starline
have-
started one last year.
And then
Grande
Grande
has
has one.
and Thunder.
And we
And
just
then we just started Thunderbolt. And it's
This
funny.
year.
Yeah, the
This
kids
year.
were like, "Are we doing a full show?" And we're like,
Oh, we don't have any money yet.
Guys, we have $0, so
Yeah.
we're just gonna do a showcase and like show you guys
raise the money
off
there, and then work on
Yeah.
it for the next
Yeah.
year.
That's
Yeah.
good though. It builds the excitement, and it kind of humbles those kids because some of those are Grace Arts Live kids who have been
well,
spoiled.
I also think like this is a way to grab those who aren't a part of Grace Arts
Right.
Live,
Absolutely.
right? And so then we can pull them in like that goes perfectly with the collaboration piece. in
Yes.
mind. So.
That's what all the new kids that showed up was the most exciting part. We had our regulars, our Grace Arts kids. We had all of our Jamaica kids that have moved on to middle school, but then we had this whole group of kids that I've never met before,
Yeah.
and they're talented.
Yeah.
And I'm so
Yeah.
excited to give them the gift of theater.
The gift of theater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like you said, it is kind of exploding a little bit.
It is.
I think people are getting an appreciation for it, and
That's how I heard about this podcast.
see,
Yes. See?
So, do you have any advice for like a new business that is thinking about sponsoring the arts but is like hesitant, or any advice for them as they venture into that?
I may get crucified for this, but U Sports has plenty of money. And if they don't have money, they know where to go for money. I think the arts is always underlooked in everything. In education
Yeah.
is the first thing to go. Like
Yep.
we can talk about it
I
on
can talk
a,
about
on
that
a country
forever.
scale, right?
Yeah.
It's not just here. And so my biggest thing would just be like our motto is, and I'll give this to Jason Anderson. He is a firm believer of this. 2008, he didn't stop giving back. After COVID, he didn't stop giving back. Every time I meet with him, he says, we do more because the people need it now. And so I think it's important to remember that because business are going to struggle, right? And so prices are going up. We all know that. And everything's going up, but they're going up to keep afloat. And people think they're going up so that they're getting a raise. But I just want to remember people like prices are going up so these businesses
Can-
can stay. And so same with Grace Arts Life, right?
Yeah.
Like, and things like that. So give back as much as you can, even if it's $100, right? We're not talking thousands. I'm not saying to come in at thousands of dollars by any means. Some can only afford 100.
Yeah,
well, and
everything.
even
that's
even just the
fine.
patron buying a T-shirt, that's
That
something.
helps. Like calendar.
Calendar, like all those
Buy a
things. Like,
calendar.
just know that it means more than I think they think or see,
Yes. It absolutely.
right? And so,
Yeah. Andrea, thank you so much for everything that you do. We're so glad that we had you on to really bring a light to what you do for the arts. Because we highlight a lot of actors mostly,
Well,
because
yeah.
we
Yeah.
love the limelight.
We love that.
And we know that, you're the type of person that likes to be behind the scenes and like, you're not like all about, hey, look at me. But
no. I mean, I have to be in front of camera and do all that stuff for sure. But
Yeah.
my preference is behind the scene and let our business do the talking kind of thing
Yeah.
Right.
and what we stand for and everything. So we're excited. We love this community. We love Grace Arts Live. It's, like I said, it's been a big part of the Andersons'
Right.
life, for a long time. And so I think it's just important that we just get more and more involved in it.
yeah, awesome.
Excellent.
Well, thank you so
Thank
much.
you
Yay,
so
thank
much.
you for being on.
Yes.
And we'll see you at the theater, I'm assuming.
Yes, we
Absolutely.
will.
All right.
All right. Until next time, remember there is no excuse for a missed or late cue. And just like that, we're at the end of another fun-filled episode of The Missed Cue. We hope you loved the conversation as much as we did. Feel free to share your thoughts, ask questions, or simply say hi. We can't wait to hear from you.
Don't forget you can always catch up on previous episodes and keep up with us on social media. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And we'd love for you to be a part of the Missed Q community.
A big thank you to all of our listeners for tuning in. Your support means the world to us. We'd appreciate it if you could subscribe, rate, and leave us a review.
Until we meet again, remember there's no excuse for a missed or late cue.